Thank you for your patience with our technical difficulties.
I'm here, Chris.
Okay. Good evening. I would like to bring the Monday, April 14th, 2025 meeting of the Wilson School Board to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Case,
Here.
Mrs. Denny,
Here.
Mr. Hart,
Here.
Mrs. Casper,
Here.
Dr. Kennedy,
Here.
Mr. McCray,
Here.
Mr. McCree,
Here.
Mr. Schneider,
Here.
Mrs. Cocker.
Here.
9 present, 0 absent.
Please stand for the posting of the colors by our JROTC.
Mark time. March. Color guard. Hold. Left. Face. Ma'am, permission to post the colors. Post colors. Post colors. Present arms. Order arms. Forward march. Right face. Forward march.
Thank you to our JROTC. This evening, we have a number of items under communication. First, I would like to introduce Mr. Drew Kaufman and Mrs. Erin Goodhart-Kurtz.
Good evening, everyone. I think we were just doing this like 5 months ago, which is pretty cool. But I'm very proud to be here tonight to recognize members of our high school girls and boys swim team for their outstanding gold medal performances at the PIAA State Championships this past season. We just had an opportunity to recognize 2 of these individuals at our signing day event, Madalee, who will be attending the University of Tampa, and Olivia, who will be attending Florida Gulf Coast University. In addition, Emma, who, well, she's kind of present tonight. she couldn't join us because she's at Wallops Island right now, but she will be attending James Madison University. So some impressive college choices, to say the least, for these young ladies. But I wasn't sure if I'd be able to make it here in time to be a part of this well-deserved recognition. So I know Erin has prepared some remarks, and I don't want to steal her thunder. But I would certainly like to congratulate all of these athletes for their amazing accomplishments this season. I would like to thank Coach Hauk and Coach Snyder, both who are in attendance tonight, along with their coaching staffs, for their leadership and commitment to our student athletes. So again, thank you to all of our swimmers and divers. Thank you to our parents who also have to make a massive commitment to these athletes. And thank you to our coaches for your dedication to Wilson Aquatics. And congratulations to all on an outstanding season. So I'd like to turn it over to Mrs. Kurtz to tell us a little bit more about this incredible season.
Good evening. We're so excited to be here today to celebrate the incredible achievements of our swimming program during the PIAA State Championship meet. I would like to take a moment first to recognize these 5 outstanding athletes. The girls, the 2025 PIAA State Champion 200 Medley Relay. This relay also set the state and school record. Congratulations, Olivia Vecchio, Emma Doherty, Evelyn Quick, and Natalie Roberts. Their victory is definitely a testament to the power of teamwork, countless hours of practice, and the unwavering belief in each other. The state runner-up team finished this gold medal performance as a direct result of their exceptional work ethic and their strong bond of swimming together for so long. This group's been together for a long time. I would also like to extend a heartfelt congratulations to Kai Boyer. Kai is our state champion in the 100 butterfly. Kai's swim at the state championship meet also set a new school record. He had a phenomenal achievement, and it is a culmination of the immense dedication, relentless hours of training, and the unyielding passion to our sport. So congratulations to all of you. These victories would not have been possible, of course, without the tireless efforts of Coach Snyder and Coach Hauk. Their expertise, unwavering support, belief in our athletes have instilled instrumental successes throughout the teams, and we are so happy to have them with us. Not only have they given them the skills to excel in the pool, but they also instill the values of discipline, perseverance, and teamwork that will serve them well beyond their swimming careers. So thank you, coaches, for your countless hours of encouragement and planning. I would also like to just express our greatest thanks to the district administration and our school board. You give us all the tools we really need to give these athletes the best facilities and resources in the state, in my opinion. So today, we just not only celebrate these victories, but the journeys, your early morning practices, challenging sets, and teamwork. Please join me in congratulating this group on a phenomenal postseason run. We are Bulldog proud of you. Congrats.
Congratulations again to our swimmers. And on to our next communication piece, an update from Crabtree, Rohrbach, and Associates. I believe we have Mr. Dowdy here tonight for our update.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to see you all again. I'm excited to be here tonight to share some updates for you for the two upcoming projects, Lincoln Park and Southern Middle School. I did step onto the job site over here before coming up here. It's really coming along, and definitely encourage you to try to get a hard hat tour soon. It's a good time to see it. So with that being said, we'll move right along. Tonight we're going to talk about where we stand as far as land development and project approvals for both projects. I'll give you a couple fly-through videos, one for each project, that shows what the design will ultimately look like at the end of the day. I'll give you some updates on cost estimates, and of course lead into tariffs. I know that's a big concern for a lot of you too. So we'll talk about that. And of course what that means for Lincoln Park project in particular, because that one was required to follow the Act 34 process. We have some methods to help deliver a buildable project for each using alternate bids. So we'll talk a little bit about some alternate bid ideas. And then give you an idea of where we stand as far as bidding and construction timeline and what that means for your action coming ahead as a board. Okay? Okay, so where we stand for each project, starting with Southern Middle School. With the township side, we've obtained all of the zoning variances that we asked for, which is great, and we've gotten our conditional approval from the township. It's conditional pending upon the NPDES permit, at which point when we get that, we'll get the final approval. But it's been through the entire process, and we have the Board of Supervisors approval at this point. Regarding NPDES, the project is now in its second round of technical review, which is great, and all the comments have been addressed in the resubmission. So we're expecting or anticipating an approval from Conservation District and DEP for this project upon the review. Building permit-wise, the project is currently in review with the township's code official. We did meet with him for each project, so he's definitely gotten his introduction to the projects and what our goals were, so he has the familiarity. So we're not anticipating too much as far as code comments from him. When we did the high school project with him a couple years ago, we got like 5 generally kind of boilerplate comments. I would anticipate something similar for both projects. For Southern Middle School in particular, even after we met is when we decided to fully sprinkler the building. So that will further make the code implications much more favorable. So we're awaiting his comments. We sent them, I think, late March, so should have a couple comments from them within the next week or two, I'd imagine. For Lincoln Park Elementary School, again, been through Spring Township. We've obtained all the requested zoning variances for that one too, and there were several for it. So very happy to report that we've gotten everything we needed from that aspect. We are in the resubmission process with the Planning Commission. They are reviewing the resubmission now and anticipate at their May 1st meeting getting their approval, after which that will go to the Board of Supervisors with Spring Township, and that is scheduled for May 12th. So at that point, we are anticipating getting the same conditional approval that we have for Southern Middle School, again, pending the NPDES. Again, the same story with the NPDES. We are in the second round of technical review for Lincoln Park and actually have been for some time, since late January. We do anticipate getting a comment from them on this one regarding the method of water supply to the site, which we changed relatively late in the design process for the better of the design and for the better of your budget, because you might recall we were originally shooting to bring the water onto the site from West Wyomissing Court, but the pressures and flows were low there, so we would have needed a fire pump and a tank and a pump house to support the adequate pressure required for fire suppression, the sprinkler system in the building. We, in communication with Shillington Municipal Water Authority, realized that if we were to extend their network from the other side of the site, from Jefferson Boulevard specifically, which is 2 blocks over, we would be able to get the adequate flow and pressure that we need to support the fire suppression system. That is to a tremendous savings to Wilson School District. We were holding in our budget prior to that about $750,000 to do this pump and tank and house. I would imagine this will get cut in maybe a third at the most. So significant savings to go this route. That being said, it will have an impact on the MPDS permit, and we are anticipating, although it may not happen, but we're anticipating a comment to that aspect, which means we'll have to address it and get it back to them. Part of that is we need the willingness to serve letter from the Municipal Water Authority, which they are meeting, I believe this week, Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. Their board is meeting, and we should be able to get that letter immediately following. Okay. Now, one thing I wanted to comment about the MPDS process in general. As it stands, we are actually exactly within the window of the second technical review that K&W outlined about a year ago when we met about the MPDS process, which is, on the surface, it sounds good, but the way it's shaken out thus far, we're just not quite sure how quickly they're going to get through this. The reason I say that is their first review for both projects was quite quick, and I'll show you what I mean by that a little bit later. It happened fast, which was very promising to us, and we addressed the comments that they had and got the submissions back to them within 3 weeks for both projects. The second review, particularly in the case of Lincoln Park, has been taking a really long time, much longer than we anticipated. So while we're still in that second review window that K&W laid out, I just don't know how this is shaking out. We've been in communication with the Conservation District, trying to understand what the process is, and it's largely the response being, just let the process be. We're working through it as fast as we can. There's nothing we can do. We are reluctant to press them too much because, you know, there's the chance you run the risk of upsetting them and they'll just tuck it further down the pile. So we're trying to walk that fine line of being gentle but insisting there's a schedule that we need to meet. So that's where we stand for both projects. It's kind of a wait and see situation for both at this point. Okay, and I'll talk about what that means for the projects. Lincoln Park as well is with the code official for their review. So this is the water extension that I was talking about, coming from the right side of the site where Jefferson Boulevard is. You can see that there. We would be doing a water line extension from that direction, 2 blocks toward the site, and that pretty much means opening up the street there to allow for the water line extension to come in, and then just paving it over. We've gotten the assurance from the township that they don't require a full width of the street repaving to do this. It's pretty much just patch what we need to patch to do it, which is great. That also saves money. And then you'll recall we were originally pulling it from the far left side of the site off of West Wyomissing Court. So that is the change that we're proposing. And again, this is to a significant savings to the school district. So with all that being said, I'll give you some fly-throughs for each project. The first one is Lincoln Park. So we'll start outside. So this is the main entrance off of the drive that you come in from West Wyomissing Court. Working around, you see the admin wing right there, followed by the library with the large window. There's an open classroom area, and then, of course, that fenced-in area will be the kindergarten playground. This wing is the kindergarten and first grade wing, as well as the preschool classroom. The preschool classroom has its own entrance right there. And then you see the first grade through fifth grade playground there as well. Looking inside, this is kind of the main street going from one main entrance to the other. You can see the stairway going to the second floor to the left. To the right is the library. So it's all right there. So there's a peek in the library. We'll be going into it in a few moments. The music classroom is to the left, and then the art classroom is to the right. We're accentuating all these special spaces with the blue kind of ribbon-like portals. And then that classroom wing on the right is the kindergarten first grade that we are walking through now. So every classroom wing is going to have its own distinguished color. This one's the red one. So you see there's a lot of tack boards and tack strips along each side for student artwork to be pinned up and all the student activities. So that's what each classroom wing looks like. This is a typical classroom, not necessarily kindergarten or first grade. This is probably second or third grade or fourth or, this one has a, its own toilet room, so it probably was a kindergarten or first grade. This is a library. So you can see it kind of has two parts. One is kind of the lower ceiling area, and then this part is the dynamic sloped roof area with the hanging acoustical clouds. You see it's fully carpeted, and there's acoustical wall panels all over it. Lots of acoustical treatments in there. This is the cafeteria and stage area. So you can see the stage there with nice curtains, doing the kind of two-colored structure. So all the joists would be painted red, and then the deck would be painted white, which is doing a lot of that in our projects right now. It's very popular. And then this is the Discovery Classroom. Similar ceiling features as the library. We can come back for questions afterwards. And then going to Southern Middle School. So starting outside, you can see the new administrative wing and the new main secure entrance with the canopy there. We'll be replacing the lettering with the bulldog at the front to make it a little bit more prominent. And then it'll also match the lettering and bulldog that you see on the addition here. So this is the addition with all the science labs. Using complementary brick colors to work with the existing building. Then this is as you approach the main entrance coming to the secure vestibule. So you can see the Wilson W beyond through the entry vestibule. You'll see the square lighting fixtures. It's a feature that you'll see throughout a lot of the more prominent spaces in the design. So the admin wing is to the right, and then you walk through the vestibule, and there's a conference room to the left, and then this enters into the student commons, which used to be the locker commons. So you can see we're doing a lot of interesting features with the ceilings that you'll see repeated in other spaces throughout. This is looking around the library, and we'll come back to look in there a little bit more. This wraps around this will be the sixth grade classroom wing. So you can see here where we're opening up the hallway to have some breakout space or, kind of small group instructional space. There's marker boards. You can see the Wilson W kind of hiding in the background. There's a bench outside of the library with the Wilson Bulldog. And then this is the new ramp that we are kind of reshuffling the building layout a little bit to help with the circulation throughout the building. So you can see a lot of graphics on the left, and then as you come into the library, you got the lower ceiling area that opens itself up to the two-story area. And you can see what we're doing with the space as far as lighting goes. Again, bringing that specialty lighting in, some ceiling clouds with some kind of emphasized look of structure between them, the red gypsum board kind of beam-like features, I guess. And then this is walking through the addition, this science lab addition. This is the lower floor. Again, using some graphics and kind of keywords that are important to the school district to help with the wayfinding. This is a typical classroom. And then this is as you enter into the expanded cafeteria. Again, first you walk through the expansion part, which is lower roof and lower ceiling. Again, we're bringing the same ceiling features into both parts. And then that looks to the expanded food court area to bring the experience at Southern Middle School to be a little more comparable to the West Middle School food court. So we also have solar tubes proposed in the project, help with some daylighting into some of these more kind of centered spaces, including the student commons, the cafeteria, and the library. So that's an important feature with the project. Looking at cost. So for Lincoln Park, you'll probably remember that we've essentially locked in our maximum building construction costs through the Act 34 process. So our costs for the structure itself are largely unchanged. So that red box that you see circled is the kind of bid day total that we are showing in our estimate right now. And that's essentially what you had several months ago when we last met. We have, however, worked in some extra contingencies into some soft costs to kind of reflect some realities of the bidding market as well as just construction in general. So, and also using kind of some learning experiences from the current project. So we've worked in some contingencies for the owner, such as I have a miscellaneous district contingency line in there that can be used for legal fees. It can be used for signage, however you choose to, kind of market the project with the public a little bit. So we have added some soft costs to this, and then we're also including some soft costs for a potential clerk of the works that the school district has been looking into. So we do have that for both projects as well. So the bid day estimate, and this is all pre-tariffs, is in that $30 to $33.1 million range. So the total project cost estimate, again, pre-tariffs, we're showing $35.6 million to $39.3 million. In December, we were saying $35.0 to $38.6 million. And again, like I said before, most of these adjustments for this project are made below that bid day costs for contingencies, clerk of the works, and allowances such as furniture. Looking at Southern Middle School, again, this one was not subject to the Act 34 process, so we have the flexibility to work with the budget costs a little bit. In actuality, we only have shown a $2 a square foot increase to the HVAC work across the board. So it has moved up modestly for that bid day structure cost. But again, most of the increases that we're showing for this one are for those soft costs, contingencies, allowances, and clerk of the works. So the bid day estimate pre-tariffs for Southern Middle School is 43.0 to 47.6. The total project cost estimate pre-tariffs is 50.6 to 55.9. We were previously at 48.1 to 53.1 in October. So, what are the tariffs doing to the bidding market? We're still, as our firm goes, not really having many projects go through the bidding process right now, but we have been reaching out to contractors and other professionals to try to get a handle on what they're seeing and experiencing with their bids. From what we've been hearing, most of the notable impacts for the general construction have been specifically related to steel, aluminum, and door hardware. But you can imagine other disciplines are also impacted, And you can look at electrical items as a great example. You know, a lot of electrical components are sourced from other countries. So with all that being said, the overall impacts on project costs are in the 2 to 3% range, and that depends on the type of project. Generally a little bit lower for new construction, a little bit higher for existing building additions and renovations, especially those that are phased. Now, why is it 2 to 3% and not like 10% that you might be hearing on, you know, percentages for material goods? The reason for that is, one, we're only talking about certain specific materials so far. And then also it's impacting material goods, not labor costs. And usually, you know, they're somewhere around 50-50 as far as the overall cost of the project. So fortunately, the tariffs don't impact the labor costs. It's just material goods, and it's not all material goods. We source a lot of our materials from the United States, which is very helpful. That being said, the demand for United States-based products is going up, therefore cost goes up for those too. Probably not to the extent that imported goods do. Tariffs most notably impact foreign goods, but can impact, yeah, so I just told you about that. For Lincoln Park Elementary School, again, all new construction, putting a 2% premium for the tariffs puts us to $36.1 to $39.9 million. So that's adding $500,000 to $600,000 to the project. And then Wilson Southern Middle School, again, a phased additions and renovations project, a higher premium of 3%. That adds $1.3 to $1.4 million to the project. So the overall total project cost is $51.9 to $57.3 if you were to put some factors in for tariffs. So what does that mean as far as the Act 34 process at Lincoln Park? Well, just to give you a little update, the written comment period has now expired, so as far as that process goes, you're good to go. You're ready to bid the project. We did set the maximum building construction costs. Remember, this is for kind of the building itself. If you were to take the building alone, forget the site work, turn that building upside down, if anything falls out of it, if you were to do that, that doesn't count. So it's the building and what gets fastened to the building. So we established that at $28,105,264 in January. Tariffs and the current construction market certainly could have an impact on that. Now, there's a process, should we need to do so, to address that. So you'll remember that the Plan-Con process requires that the bids come in within 8% of that maximum building construction cost. So if you factor in that 1.08 multiplier, the maximum building construction cost is $30,353,685. I had trouble doing that. So what that means is that's the number that actually, after all construction is said and done, it has to be under that number. So you get that 8% grace amount to work with. Should it exceed that, what would be required at that point would be a second Act 34 hearing. Per the Plan-Con forms, if the maximum building construction cost based on bids is equal to or greater than the maximum building construction cost based on estimates plus 8%, a second public hearing will be required before entering into contracts and starting construction on any planned work. So what does that actually look like? Well, you'll recall that as we get bids in, there is, you know, a period of time that we're actually using to review the bids, make sure that they are fully in line with the requirements of the project. And then also, we would issue an intent to award letter to the successful bidders, and then they would start preparing their paperwork, all their contracts. That takes several weeks to do. And then, of course, that gets reviewed by us, by your solicitor. So while that is happening, we could hold a second public hearing if necessary. The advertising period that is required is much shortened, and the comment period that would be required to follow, again, is much shortened. So we could actually perform that kind of within that time frame while other things are happening kind of behind the scenes. And that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple process, particularly since PlanCon is not funding projects right now. Okay. So, what are some ways that we can give you some flexibility to deliver a project after the bids come in? Our primary avenue to do that is through alternate bids, and we've got a series of alternate bids proposed for each project. More for Southern Middle School because it's kind of an existing building. There's a lot more we can work with to bring alternates on board. But we also do have a handful for Lincoln Park. I will say I think Lincoln Park is really exceptionally efficiently designed. It's hard to pull a whole lot out of this or set as a deduct alternate. So for each project, we have, of course, an unclassified construction alternate bid. If you might remember from the high school project, that is basically a cost that the contractors will give you for them to assume all of the risk for any unsuitable soils that they find during excavation. You took that alternate bid when it came in for the high school project, and I would say it has paid off in droves. And it was not a cheap one for that project either. And it still, I think, has worked to your favor. For Lincoln Park, I would not anticipate an incredibly high one, I don't think, because we are pretty much addressing the unsuitable soils from the get-go in its very design, as we've discussed about the soft soil situations previously. So we have that for both. Also for both projects is wireless lockdown hardware. This is an add alternate. So a trend that we are seeing more and more of in our school designs is having the ability to wirelessly lock down all the classroom doors, flick of a switch, if you have a security breach or any need to do so. This is the way that these things are going. The thing to keep in mind for this is if you do it for these two schools, you'll probably want to address it for all of your schools. I would imagine you will be doing that at some point in the not too distant future, no matter what. It makes a lot of sense to do it now while both projects are under construction. And I'll help you out with some costs for that as well. And then the last one that applies to both projects, actually there's two more. 20-year EPDM roof in lieu of a 30-year roof. That would be a deduct alternate. We know a 30-year roof carries a 30-year warranty. It will be more expensive. It's 30 mils thicker, and that's what you're paying for. 30-year roofs are your standard right now, but I will say that this could work out in a way advantageously should you take the deduct, and it's worth it to you to do so, in that your school roofs have largely been recently replaced. Is that right? So it could shake out that by the time that 20-year roof warranty expires, you'll be in a program to replace all your roofs as it is. And then the last one that applies for both is eliminating the graphics. And this is something that you can just do as a school later, but it might be an easy way to deliver a buildable project. For Lincoln Park, eliminating the library and discovery, those swoopy drop ceilings, again, easy to add later. But if you need to help build a project, that's a good way to go. For Southern Middle School, the other alternates are mill and overlaying the mechanical yard asphalt. We're going to be putting a new chiller unit out in the back there, and they're going to be running new piping lines. So while they're doing that, just to mill and overlay that whole area rather than just patching it. That's an add alternate. Add alternate to replace the two ramps that go into the gymnasium entrances. They're in not the best shape. And that could certainly be done another time if the pricing doesn't warrant it. The solar tubes, we know that's really important to you, but let's get a price for it just to see. and then a couple alternates for the corridor tile. We know you want some nice corridor tile to cover it's roughly 4¼ by 6 inches, multiple different colors at Southern Middle School. Cover that up with something more contemporary. We have an alternate to do it with a polished finish, which is an upgrade, versus the matte finish. And then we also have an alternate bid to paint that tile, the existing tile, rather than replace or cover it. And that would be a deduct alternate. And then the last one I didn't mention is painting the exterior metal panel, the red and white panel that's you can see from outside on the higher volume spaces. So the estimated cost of the add alternates at Lincoln Park, and that's pretty much just the wireless lockdown hardware, is about $45,000. So what that equates to is about $625 additional per lock set plus the electrical work involved. And then the estimated cost of all the add alternates, again, except for unclassified construction at Southern Middle School, is about $225,000. The bulk of that is, again, for the wireless lockdown hardware. There's a lot more doors at that project. Okay, so looking at the project's timeline, this is kind of a revised version of what you've been seeing all along. I'll point out that I've added in a blue triangle on each one. That is about graphically when the actual first round technical comments came in from DEP. And you'll see that that's well in advance of what we were anticipating. So that's what gave us really good feelings about how the DEP process was unfolding several months ago. We did our resubmissions, and now they've just been hanging in second submission limbo pretty much ever since. So that just kind of graphically shows how that's interestingly taken shape. We're watching it every day to see if we get news on either project. As far as bidding the projects, looking at June, July, August bid period for Lincoln Park, and then a little bit sooner, like mid-May, May 6th through July, mid to late July for the bidding and awarding for Southern Middle School. Southern Middle School is much more schedule critical as far as phasing goes. Ideally, we would be able to get through phase 1, which is the new addition, by the end of summer of 2026. That way you have the swing space to move classes over before they start renovating other areas. We are proposing pushing this out to bid. We did delay it a little bit from what we intended to release to bid. So we're delaying it until after your next board meeting. I believe it's your next meeting, right? So you have a board meeting on May 5th, at which point we'd ask for your authorization to bid the project. We will likely be bidding it without having an MPDS permit in hand. That being said, we have all their technical comments, and we've been able to implement them into the bid documents. So we're not anticipating having to address anything else from them, but we are a little bit running the risk of not being able to issue a notice to proceed to anybody by the time that we would like to. And at this point, we're shooting for July 21st to issue notice to proceed. That does give us several months still to work with, so I'm hopeful. The alternative to that would be having to reshuffle our phasing for the project. We feel that it is a reasonable risk to take because best case scenario is everything moves smoothly and we get our building online, the new addition, summer of 2026. Worst case scenario is we have to reshuffle the phasing anyhow. So we're making the recommendation to proceed with bidding it, and then we can see how things unfold over the next couple of months. We do also have a requirement in the bid documents that if for any approvals or permit-related reason we need to delay issuing notice to proceed, we may do so for up to 120 days. That's really the only reason that is allowable for that, but we do have that in the bid documents. In this day and age, that's a tall order to ask of our contractors, especially for steel, because they're getting prices that are good for one day. It's a challenging time, and it's been that way since the end of COVID. So you can see the construction schedules for each project. You can see our proposed phasing for Southern Middle School. You'll see also that Southern Middle School actually the final completion of it ends up within the first couple of months of the 2027-2028 school year. That's a result of some pretty valuable feedback we've gotten from some general contractors. Just feeling that that last phase, that green bar at the very bottom right, it's mostly kind of light finish work, not very heavy, with the exception of the new food court. There's a lot going on in there. So there might be a couple months that we'd be asking you to potentially set up a brown bag option for student lunches toward the end of that construction phase. Okay, looking ahead for your part as a board, of course today we're giving you these updates. We'd be looking for your authorization to bid both projects on May 5th. With your approval to do so, we would release First Southern Middle School on May 6th for bidding, and then that bid period will likely last 5 weeks. We'll set it up for 4 weeks, but we often anticipate a 1-week extension. That's often requested of contractors. And then keeping on the Southern Middle School track, those bids would then come in, assuming a 5-week period on June 10th. We'd review those bids with you on June 16th, and then on June 23rd, ask you to put your vote together to accept or reject the bids for Southern Middle School. The very next day, we would, should you elect to accept them, issue letters of intent to award to the successful contractors, and that'll start their paperwork process. And then, assuming we can get our permits in place, shooting to issue notice to proceed on July 21st. For Lincoln Park, that one, as I mentioned before, we are anticipating having to go through one more round with the MPDS review. So we're holding on releasing those for bidding until May 27th. Now, should we get some favorable responses from DEP, we are ready to go. We'll probably not release anything until a week after we release Southern Middle School, so that they're not bidding at exactly the same time. So that would be May 13th was probably the earliest we could do it. So if we're able to, we will. But at this point, we're going to hold until May 27th. If we release them on May 27th, we would expect to receive bids again 5 weeks later on July 1st, and then kind of holding some blank dates from there on out, pending your board schedule and everything else, to do the final steps for that one. And that's what I have. I'm sure you have questions.
Thank you, Mr. Dowdy. Does the board have any questions?
Dr. Kenny.
Sean, you put something in there, and I can't remember the name of it now. It was like a clerk work.
Clerk of the Works.
Okay, that's a new one, and I've been doing this a couple years now. In all our projects, I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah. The intent of that is, and I think we're really focused on Southern Middle School for a Clerk of the Works, because of that being a much more challenging project compared to Lincoln Park Elementary School and compared to the high school project. That one's going to require eyes on the project a lot more than I think you may want to have, a lot more than you may want to have Mr. Simcox. I think without undermining his great abilities, and he's been truly valuable to everything we've done so far. I think you also want him doing what you've hired him to do for the rest of your school district. And I think Southern Middle School in particular might require some more constant eyes on the project. So we've been talking about potentially bringing on a clerk of the works, which is kind of construction manager light. So it's allowing them to review submittal processes, see who's on the job site, track time, track tickets, things like that, to make sure that things are moving along smoothly. It's a great intermediary between you, your administration, and the contractors. We've had them on similar projects that undergo long phased out durations. And I think it would be a good benefit to you as a school district. So the administration has been working on some RFPs and RFQs to that end, just to see what we can get as far as proposals, and we'll continue to advise you with what we find. We are, if I'm not mistaken, doing that for Lincoln Park as well. That one is, once they get that thing out of the ground, it's going to be a piece of cake comparatively, just being a brand new building. Renovation projects are much more challenging.
Is that clerk of the works, is that an employee that we could look at hiring for 2 years? I don't, we're going to weigh the cost benefit for working for you versus working for Wilson.
They would not work for us.
Oh.
They would work directly for you, be contracted directly to you. It's not an employee, to be clear. It would be like, yeah, it was, yeah. So,
So we would go through the process, Mr. Case, of an RFP. We would likely put it out for both projects and see what's returned from that. And then the board would have to make a decision on to what scale we would want to invest. One of the concerns that I have regarding running the organization, in addition to building 3 construction projects simultaneously, is just not overloading our teammates too much. So I think this option for the board is one that we will consider at some point, again, whether or not it's both projects or not. But it would just be for the duration of the construction project. They would not be our employee, but it would be a contracted service with a local provider.
Sean, there was a question that came up a bit earlier with regard to, you send something out for bid now, right, in this atmosphere. The potential for baking in tariffs that may not materialize, is there anything that we can do to protect the district where we're not getting inflated bids for something that may not materialize, such as some sort of a tariff bogey or contingency? I mean, you do this every day. I'm just asking.
I think what you're alluding to is what a lot of people often ask for, like asphalt escalators in the project. We generally find that they do not work to the benefit of the owner. Maybe I'm misreading your question, but I think what you're getting at is if we establish an escalator to a material, then you pay whatever price is kind of relevant or prevalent at the time that they go to purchase that. We just generally find that does not work.
If I was bidding the project and I was going to bid on it, I would bake in additional dollars because of landed costs that come, and all of a sudden you have 25%
they have to protect their
tariffs on
risk
things.
too.
But if those don't materialize, we're going to eat that as a district. So where's that balance in this atmosphere? You mentioned earlier, most people are not putting things out to bid right now.
That's not true. You're just happen to be on the front end of it. We've got several that are not long after yours.
Because the longer we wait, I mean, the Lincoln Park project started out in the mid-20s. Now the more we wait, the higher this cost keeps getting. a little bit frustrating.
I understand that. And I also don't want to confuse the structure cost versus the final project cost. But I think there's also the factor of just general year-over-year cost escalation that can't be discounted. I just don't think that waiting would be of financial benefit.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I just was wondering if we could bake anything in, so.
Sean,
Go ahead,
Sean,
John.
I was stumped as well as to see if there's some way you could tie in something that would, kind of when you do unit pricing on things. But
Yeah, now, to that end, we are packing these projects with unit prices. Absolutely packing them. And the way I've been writing the specifications for the unit prices is each unit price would include an allowance of, say, however many, I'm just going to throw an example, I'm not saying this necessarily would be one, but how many certain types of door hardware. It includes an allowance that's baked into your project. And then with the unit price that comes with it, that has to be applied as a deduct as well, should you not use them. Does that make sense? So that locks in that price as a benefit back to you should you not use them, and then it also locks in the price if you want more. So we've got quite a handful of them across all disciplines, a long list of them to be in fact.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Dowdy? Okay. Thank you as always for all of your hard work and the fly-through was, I think, a nice touch, kind of really materialize everything. So
Great.
thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.
Have a great night. Thank you, Mr. Dowdy. Okay, next communication piece, we have Raymond James for Raymond James Financial. So Ms. Ali Mackey and Mr. Michael Vinn.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to go through the beginning. We have a two-part presentation. I'm going to go through the current market conditions. As everyone knows, or if everyone's been watching, there's been quite a bit of disruption here in the past 6-7 days. From a fixed income side, which is bond rates, it is starting to come back to a normalization pre-tariffs. The stock market is still obviously in a very volatile state, but we will also go through showing you what it would cost on a run rate and annual debt service on both a $60 million additional or 75, kind of a bookend type high and low scenario. Again, you've seen some of these slides before. The school district has done a great job over the last 10 years of taking advantage of current market rates. We did hit a ton of refinancings during COVID when rates were at all-time lows. A bulk of the current capital that's outstanding, about $45 million, is locked in at 1.22%. So again, the school district's done a great job, and that's what's allowed the school district this opportunity to add on this debt if it chooses to do so, and it may not be a large budgetary cost on a cash flow basis just for the debt. And we'll get that a little bit later to show you some of those numbers. The district has a strong AA rating that is higher than most of your peers. And the school district has done a lot of proactive things to also earn as much interest as possible. One of the items that they did, if you recall, was that you invested your 2021 C bonds. Again, those were 1.22% that you borrowed on, and you invest them in tax-exempt slugs, which allows you to capture and keep all of those interest earnings above the yield on the debt, which is equated to approximately $1.5 million to date. So again, that's just another addition to that capital project fund that reduces the amount we're going to eventually have to borrow. The following page, I'm sorry, I don't have, just shows the current yield curve. This is the tax-exempt yield curve that we would be looking to borrow off of. The red line is the current yield curve. The dark blue curve is the average. We can still see we are still under the average, and that's the average since 1993. The vertical light blue columns are the maximum that yield curve has been since 1993. So you can still see that we are, even with the increase over the past several days, we are still under that average on a historic basis. The following page, and what I know there's a lot of lines on here, but what this is basically showing is once the Fed started cutting rates, the expectation was that rates were going to continue to go lower. This shows that even though we have started cutting rates, rates have actually increased during that time. It is lower than it was 1 year ago, which is the red line, but it is higher than it was 6 months ago. If you could see, the green line is today, the blue line is 6 months ago. So you can see it, they have come up a little bit, especially on the longer end. The following page just shows you the historic 20-year municipal market rates for AA rated credits. And this just depicts that we are going back to the average. We're basically almost at a 50-50 again with the rate that have started to come up a little bit. But again, that has started to work itself out, and the consensus is that it's going to start to normalize when a trajectory of where this market is going to be going is established. And I will hand it over to Ally to go over some of the debt questions. Is there any questions on the rates right now? Okay.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to go through the fun part, which is the numbers that you've seen from us a couple of times here in the last few months. First page is just the summary of the district's outstanding debt. So this is all the debt you currently have outstanding. If you do nothing, these are the payments that you owe on your existing series of debt. The one thing I'll point out here is in column 11. You can see there that we have our run rate at roughly 11 million going up to 11.6 million. And if you recall from when we were here last year and we did that first $15 million piece for the projects in order to lock in that arbitrage, we told everybody we're going to come back and we're going to restructure the existing debt to bring that level down to whatever the board would decide that level to be. So tonight you're going to see a couple of scenarios from us. As Mike mentioned, we ran for each scenario a $60 million additional borrowing and a $75 million additional borrowing. And then we've run two different cash flow structures. So one that keeps the run rate at 10.9, which is where the debt was before we did those 15 bonds, and one that has you putting in $500,000 to the debt service line item ongoing, so the run rate goes up to 11.4. So this is the first scenario. In this scenario, we're borrowing an additional $60 million. In columns 4 and 5, at the same time we borrow whatever is needed for the project, whatever that number ends up being once you get your bids back, we restructure the existing debt in columns 4 and 5, which allows us then in column 9 to bring that run rate back to the 10.9 that it was at prior to doing anything here regarding the projects. You'll see then we need to take the debt out, an additional roughly 14 years to 2046. The current debt currently, without the 15 that we borrowed last year, would have paid off in 33. With it, it pays off in 38. So at the end there, we're roughly paying this off in 2046, which is still, for a project of this size, an incredibly short debt profile. Not a lot of your peers, after issuing for big projects like this, have a short enough debt profile in the 20, 25-year range. It's usually 30, even sometimes 35 years when they undertake a capital project like that. The other thing I'll note here is that, obviously there's a cost to restructure the debt. We need to kind of move principal that pays off earlier to later years, and the cost of that in this scenario is roughly $3 million. And that's just additional interest expense. It's not cash out of pocket. It's just the additional interest cost. On the next slide, this is the same scenario where we're going to structure everything to that $10.9 million run rate, but we're going to borrow $75 million instead of $60 million for the projects. And at the end there, then you see the big difference is that the debt runs out to 2052. So instead of 2046, we now have to run it out to 2052 in order to keep the run rate at the 10.9 million. In addition, because we have to restructure more to fit more debt service, the cost of that restructuring goes up to roughly $4 million. Following page is the $60 million, so the first scenario we looked at, but at the $11.4 million run rate. So as you're thinking about your budget this year, if you wanted to put that additional $500,000 into the debt service line item, that would allow us to then restructure less. So the restructuring cost goes down from $3 million to roughly $2.5 million. And it also allows us to shorten the amount of time that we need the debt to be outstanding. So in this case, we're going down to 2044 instead of 2046. And then the last scenario is the $75 million at the $11.4 million run rate. This decreases the restructuring cost from $4 million to $3.3 million, and it shortens the debt to pay off in 2049 versus 2052. And then the final page is just a summary so you can see it next to each other. I know it's hard to see when it's on 4 separate pages. So the most important part of this is kind of the chart in the bottom. You'll see the 4 scenarios lined up next to each other. And what's important here is the $500,000 being put into the budget and getting to an $11.4 million run rate does save you over the life of the debt roughly $10 million in total interest cost repayment. So it is a significant amount of dollars. It's not nothing. And it also, again, allows you to shorten the debt and run it out not as long, so that if you get down the road 5, 10, 15 years and you need to do something else, our debt profile is still relatively short. Does anybody have any questions on any of that? That was a lot. All right. Thank you.
Thank you both very much.
President Cocker, if I could just for a
Yes.
minute. So just to clarify for the community and others, it's 2 different scenarios. It's partly dependent upon what happens with our projects and the need to go out to the market and borrow funds. So we're really just trying to present kind of a best case scenario and also a scenario that's not as favorable, but to ensure that everyone that we have a plan in place and that our financial team and our financing team have been working through conversations to ensure each of those models or some version in between, if you will, as we continue through on this process.
Thank you, Dr. Trickett. Okay, this evening we do not have public participation on agenda items, so that is the end of our communication for this evening. Ms. Moravich, do you have an announcement? Okay, just checking. The board did meet in executive session this evening before the board meeting. I'm going to change up the order. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. So we're going to approve the minutes, and then we're going to take items, superintendent's report, number 7, and bump it up right after the minutes, because we have a number of employees here, well, future employees, that we're going to approve, and we don't want to force them to be here all night. Usually our meetings are a little shorter, but this is a really full meeting tonight. So first, I would look for the approval of minutes, requesting a motion to approve the minutes for the school board meeting held on March 17th and March 31st, 2025.
Denny?
Mrs. Denny, thank you. Do we have a second?
Schneider.
Mr. Schneider, thank you. This is a voice vote, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries, which takes us to superintendent's report. Dr. Trickett.
Thank you, President Cocker, and thank you to all of our new potential soon-to-be hires of the Wilson School District for your patience. Definitely is a little bit of a learning experience, I'm sure, to see kind of the business side of the organization, something that you don't talk about too much in undergraduate or graduate studies. Superintendent's report tonight is jam-packed, full of a variety of different items, including retirements. Ms. Gallagher and Ms. Ramsey will be retiring, different retirement dates, but just thank them both again, as we always do at these meetings, for their service and commitment to our kids. We have quite a few resignations, again, with a variety of different end dates, 2 different child rearing leaves. Again, always a celebration for our staff when they welcome children into their families. some unpaid leaves of absence, support staff hires, substitute teachers, quite a few items under the extracurricular agenda item. And then I'll leave it at that and turn it back over to President Cocker before I address 7.10.
Thank you, Dr. Trickett. So usually all of our superintendent items are combined into one motion. Tonight we have a little bit of a change, so I'm going to look first for a motion to approve superintendent's items 7.1 through 7.9 as presented. Dr. Kennedy, thank you. Do we have a second? Mr. McCree, thank you. Any discussion? Okay. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mrs. Denny.
Yes.
Mr. Hart.
Yes.
Mrs. Casper.
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy.
Yes.
Mr. McCray.
Yes.
Mr. McCree.
Yes.
Mr. Schneider.
Yes.
Mr. Case.
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker.
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
And then Dr. Trickett?
All righty, now 7.10, our professional hires. I'm very pleased to introduce to the board and our community 14 new recommended professional hires this evening. They're listed here in order: Gianni Clark, Kristen Chadwick, Lytle Dawson, Josh Edwards, Joy France, Lauren Klunk, Adam Consavage, Nicole Lakowski, Morgan Mattia, Justin Morris, Tegan O'Neill, Matthew Prabula, Kaylee Rank, Nathan Schaefer, Leslie Segori, Madison Sneer. I think I got everyone. First and foremost, welcome, congratulations. As I mentioned to you very briefly, it is not the easiest job to get in the region at Wilson School District. All of you come highly recommended through our different processes. Saw some of your Spark hires, know some of you personally, and I'm just really looking forward to getting to know the rest of you well. So congratulations, and after the board votes, I would welcome you to start over here with Mr. McCree to introduce yourselves and shake our hands. I encourage you to continue walking right out the door to enjoy the rest of your evening. And thank you to the family members and friends that are here to support our new hires.
Thank you, Dr. Trickett. Looking for a motion for 7.10.
Schneider, so moved.
Mr. Schneider, thank you. Do a second. Dr. Kennedy, thank you. Any discussion? Mrs. Denny?
Okay, so I'm just going to put out there that I'm going to be abstaining because I have a very good friend who's being voted on, and I am going to take a moment to embarrass her. I'm really excited about all of you joining our staff. I've looked through your resumes, and there is such a diversity of experience. Some people are new from school, some have been long-term substitutes for a bit, some have masters, and it is wonderful. But my dear friend who's joining the staff here is on her second career, already has a master's, and then went back and got a master's in education to take this position. And as somebody who is more in my middle to later stage in life, I always love it when I see people who are on a second career, because education is a lifelong thing. You should never stop learning. You should never stop using your brain. And I think that's one of the things that Wilson does so well, is that in looking at the profile of a Wilson graduate, we're not producing students. Well, we are producing students that do well on tests, but that's not our goal. Our goal is to produce students who are good, well-rounded individuals who will do well in life. So if they come out and they say, I'm going to be a teacher, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to go into the military, they're going to do well at that. But if when they get a little older, they say, you know what, I want to try something new, they're going to have the life experiences and the ability to do that too, and to do that well. And I think that's something that's great about Wilson, and I want to thank you all for coming here and choosing our school and educating our students. And Joy, I really want to thank you for coming. I think you have the greatest job ever. Teaching students the love of reading is probably the best thing you could do for anybody, so welcome.
Thank you, Mrs. Denny. Any other comments from the board? Okay, I would like to personally thank our HR department for their aggressive, in a good way, aggressive efforts in gaining future prospective employees. We are definitely, compared to last year, earlier in the process with a number of employees on on our agenda, and I think it gives us a step up in picking the best people that are out there. So congratulations to all of you, and we are happy to have you. And thank you for all the hard work from our HR department. Okay, any other comments from the board? Hearing none, roll call on 7.10, please.
Mr. McCree?
Yes.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mrs. Denny?
Abstain.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. McCray?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
8 yes, 1 abstain.
So welcome and congratulations. Okay, now that takes us to our committee reports. I almost jumped right into 8, but that is, we can't skip off. And we would have missed Ms. Negrini's report. So, student outreach, take it away.
Thank you so much, President Cocker. I first wanted to start off by congratulating 2 of Miss Mary Lennon's production and performance acting classes who recently performed their original production of Winnie the Pooh for all 5 of the elementary schools, which I think is absolutely amazing, and I just want to celebrate these very creative and talented students. Moving on to Wilson Community, Wilson High School hosted their 9th annual Iron Chef competition recently on March 23rd, and it was a huge success. So I wanted to congratulate everyone involved. This was such a huge effort ranging from community members and students and staff members. So congratulations to everyone involved in this absolutely amazing event. Congratulations to the amazing Monica Lawrence, who is an incredible autistic support teacher here at the high school, on her nomination for the Annie Sullivan Award. The Annie Sullivan Award is one that recognizes those in our community who make such an amazing positive impact on students with disabilities. I have the privilege of getting to work with many of Mrs. Lawrence's autistic support students in her classroom every single morning, and I can say that it is the highlight of my morning because of the absolutely incredible environment that she fosters. So I have no doubt that this award went to the right person in terms of nominations. And on April 30th, the Lower House will be holding an International Food and Culture Festival to celebrate our school's diverse population. So I highly recommend that you attend this amazing and delicious event. Moving on to academics, I wanted to congratulate several Wilson High School groups. First, the Reading Olympics team for placing first in the Berks County competition, which is amazing. I then wanted to congratulate the 24 Wilson students who competed in the 73rd annual Reading Berks Science and Engineering Fair, and a special shout out to Wilson Junior William Ferenchek for earning grand champion of the entire competition. I also wanted to congratulate the students who competed at the PA Central East Science Olympiad regional competition. I think this just demonstrates once again how strong our STEM program is here at our school, so congratulations to these students. I'm sure as you heard Recently tonight, Wilson held their National Signing Day recognition ceremony to celebrate the 28 student athletes who are continuing their athletic careers onto the collegiate level. So congratulations to these amazing students. And lastly, I wanted to celebrate the students from both the Mural Arts class and Mural Arts Club at the high school who recently installed a gorgeous mosaic in the lower house. So thank you for contributing so beautifully to our school district.
Thank you for your report, Ms. Negrini. Teaching and learning, Dr. Kennedy.
In the interest of time, we're going to do a truncated version of this. If anybody wants the extra long version, just email one of us. We met March 26th. We talked about the Professional Learning Day. We got elementary updates on building bulldogs and the Elementary Reading Olympics, which was fantastic. We got middle school updates on some professional learning, 6th grade camp, which is going to the YMCA again. And we got a high school update on the learning walks. We also talked about all of the different contracts that you're going to see on the agenda tonight. And that's my report.
Thank you, Dr. Kennedy. And also to save you and Mr. Schneider's time, the minutes are also on our website. So even if people don't want to email you. Operations Committee, Mr. Case.
Yes, thank you. We met today at 4:30 in the room upstairs. We'll keep this a bit short. We had our presentation today for Phase 2 and then some, so we'll leave it at that. But for extracurricular, so a couple things that came up today. We actually have a very good problem at Wilson School District. Our ladies softball team continues to hit really great home runs over a fence and creating a safety issue in the track area. So you'll see on the agenda tonight, there's a couple of things here to address some safety issues with regard to Pro-Max fencing. Also, you know, for the, we discussed this before as well, for the aquatic center, the just-in-timing quote came up for the touch pads. So for 8 touch pads are required for the timing mechanisms for accurate race times. So that is kind of being pulled a little bit ahead of the projected budget that we talked about already. From a transportation perspective, I'm going to keep that short just because there's going to be a safety review at our next board meeting, so more to come on kind of the last 3 months of the bus patrol data that is coming in. And also some great news out of the transportation department with regard to the Department of Transportation. They are basically supposed to be doing spot checks for vehicles throughout school districts. We haven't really had them at Wilson School District. You know, I'm sure the Department of Transportation is very busy. Well, we recently had one. They checked 11 vehicles, and one of the great positive feedback mechanisms that came in was that they checked about 50 items on each bus, and of all the buses that they had, we had one turn signal that had to be corrected. So some feedback was also that we had the cleanest and best maintained buses of any school district and fleet in the area. So just hats off to Mr. Williams and the crew and all the employees within the transportation department that keep our buses squeaky clean. So thank you. With regard to technology, new line panels, those are the Promethean boards, or I'm not sure if that's a brand. The touch boards that are in each classroom. Our fiscal year ends kind of in the middle of the summer, so there's going to be some things that you see on tonight's for approval for boards, and this was all part of our capital spending plan, but we're also going to, in the near future, also kind of buy some more boards for next year in advance. Basically we have some locked in pricing and we want to avoid tariffs. And there's some warehouses that are on shore here that are already full, so we want to kind of buy the materials while we have the chance at a reasonable price. Chromebooks are coming up, laptops, desktops. We're looking into pricing, and there's also we need to, I guess the next wave of leases is for the high school for replacing aging Chromebooks, et cetera. We, with regard to construction, there were some change orders that Wilson School District has asked for. They're all online if anyone would like to see them. They're not super material, cost-wise, and these were quite needed. So, we are still within our contingency budget, well within that for the future. And we talked about Whitfield and adaptive playground quotes. One of the great things about that is, so there's going to be a ribbon cutting ceremony at some point in the near future for the adaptive playgrounds at Whitfield. And one of the things I just want to make a shout out for is that there were over nearly $15,000 worth of donations between the Education Foundation and the Whitfield HSA, Homeschool Association. So I just want to thank everyone for, continuing donating and making that a great special project. I'm going to keep it short then. Those see quotes on, moving forward, project for gymnasium, the gymnasium bleacher replacement project. There was a favorable new quote that came in that we're going to take advantage of, and I will leave it at that. Oh, and for the public, there was one of our last school board meetings, a special school board meeting with regard to the Westview property. We are closing on that property this Friday. And, I just want to thank all the parties involved where it was a very amicable situation, where, there was not any kind of, land grab or anything like that. So just the community members and it was a great joint effort. So thank you for all that. And we will start seeing administrators moving out of this building sometime in the summer and making classrooms available in this building. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Case. Human Resources, Mrs. Casper.
Yes, we met this past Wednesday. We discussed, obviously we've been very busy. We discussed the following items that you'll see on the agenda tonight. 2 items are renewals with 1 new agreement. We are proposing renewing our agreement with the IU 13 for Act 168 compliance. We've had this agreement with the IU since 2017, and this agreement helps to meet the requirements for Act 168. The other renewal is with our Vision Benefits of America, or VBA. VBA is our employee-funded vision insurance plan. The cost has a slight increase of 4% based on the claims utilization from previous years, but no cost to the district. This is a 2-year agreement beginning July 1st of 2025 to June 30th of 2027. The final contract is a new one. This is an agreement with Recruit Military. So thanks to Mr. Williams and his savvy looking for a different base of employees. Recruit Military is an organization that provides employers with a database of potential employees who have served in the military. We would be given access to that database for a 12-month period, and the database has 1.4 million individuals nationwide with over 3,400 within 30 miles of our zip code. We believe that access to this database may help us to fill open support staff positions within the district. So the agreement is a 1-year contract. So thank you for that, Mr. Williams. You'll also notice that we hired 16 new professionals to the district. I'm so excited to get to know them a little bit more. Some of them I already know. They're not here any longer, but we had a big welcome for them. So yeah. So that's my report. And I want to just say kudos to our HR department for all the work that you've done in the past couple months with all of your recruitment and your aggressive recruitment of these new hires. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Casper. Student experience, Committee, Mrs. Denny.
Yes, so we met on the 9th and discussed a number of things that are on today's agenda, but I'm going to just highlight two of the main things. One, we discussed at our last meeting, but it wasn't finalized, and that is that we are partnering with the Lincoln Center to have 2 therapeutic emotional support classrooms that are going to be over at Berkshire Heights. We have a guaranteed 8 slots, and then the additional slots are going to be offered to other schools in our county. There currently is no school in our county that has this type of classroom available. So students that need this type of support, we have to send out of county. And so not only is it a much more significant cost, it also involves a lot of time and transportation. So this is a really great option for our students to be able to keep them in our district. And it's good not just for us, but our neighboring districts who are going to be able to use this. And it's my understanding that we already have, the Lincoln Center fills up the other spots, but that they already have a couple of the slots filled. Like, this is a real need. So that is on the agenda for us to vote on, and I think this is going to be a really great program. The other program that I want to highlight is an MOU between us and Penn State College of Medicine's wellness program. That is no cost to the district. It's funded by the Pennsylvania Department of Health, and it is meant to train teachers and students to address mental health issues and suicide ideation, which is a huge issue, especially in the adolescent population. And they have a goal of training at least 10% of our staff, to also train some of our students, to have school-wide events, funding for materials, and it's a slightly over a year-long program that they're going to be doing this. So I'm excited to hear, hopefully in a year we can get a report of kind of some of the stuff they've done and how that has worked out. And it's just in time because Mental Health Awareness Week is the week of May 12th. So it's coming just in time. So that is my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Denny. Public Relations, Mrs. Troutman.
Well, good evening. I just have a couple of items. First, it's hard to believe that graduation is actually right around the corner. It's going fast. And so one of the traditions that we have here at Wilson, I think we started this probably in 2020, is that we share spotlights of all of our seniors on our district social media. So believe it or not, that's already started because we have over 500 seniors. So it will take us probably till the end of the school year to feature all of them. So please take a moment, check out our social media pages, and just see all the great things that our graduating seniors are going to be doing post-graduation. I also wanted to add on to Mr. Greeny's report and celebrate a couple of other groups and individuals who have done some amazing things over this past few weeks. First, Wilson students and YVC volunteers have made a true impact on our community through their participation in the 8th Annual Can Structure Project, which is hosted by Youth Volunteer Corps of Reading. As you might remember, probably when you came in, maybe at the last board meeting, their can structure, the high school can structure, was right out here in the lobby. So they were recognized for their hard work with this project. They won for best use of original can labels, best use of STEM concepts, honorable mention for best original design, and probably most impressive was the heaviest donation at 2,885 pounds. We're the only group that actually had a truck have to come and pick up all of the donations because that's just how much they were able to raise. It's incredible. And then we also, Green Valley Elementary School also participates in this project, and they received the People's Choice Award. So congratulations to these students for another job well done. And then I also would like to congratulate Sindora Sridhar, who is a senior this year, and she is the inaugural winner of the Empower Her Award. This is a brand new award offered through the Greater Reading Chamber of Commerce. Huge, huge honor for Sindora. This award celebrates the next generation of women leaders in Berks County, recognizing those who embody leadership, empowerment, community impact, and excellence. She is the recipient for the entire county of the entire Berks County. So up on the screen you can see all of the other things that Sindora does, but we're super proud of her, and we want to congratulate her for this outstanding accomplishment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Troutman. Any other additional board member appointment reports? Okay, Mrs. Schlossman?
Good evening. The Berks Tax Collection Committee met on March 27th. Herbine and Company performed the 2024 calendar audit of Berks EIT, and they received a clean audit opinion. Our tax distributions for earned income tax for the first quarter of 2025 are higher by $1.9 million over the prior year, or 4.3%, which is great news. Our delinquent employer EIT prosecution continues, and we have collected $1.1 million as a result. We did receive EIT projections for our fiscal year 25-26, and those increases ranged over the current year by 0% to 2.5%. Thankfully, Wilson was at the high end, and we're projected to receive 2.5% over the current year for our projected revenue, so that's great news. Our next quarterly meeting is in June. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for the reminder. Taxes are due tomorrow, including your Berks EIT. Any other reports from board member assignments? Mrs. Denny, yes.
Yes. There was a meeting of the COLA, and you know what, I just realized, I'm not sure what that stands for. Is that Committee on Legislative Affairs? Okay, so the Committee on Legislative Affairs met at the BCIU last week, and we had a speaker who came in and talked about the budget largely, and talked about some of the proposed increases. And I won't go into it too much, except that the general consensus was it's not enough money that the state is looking at giving us, but that, as Mrs. Schlossman indicated, that Wilson, of all the districts, is in an okay state because there's different slots of money, including adequacy funding that was added recently as a result of the one lawsuit, and that we get the statewide lawsuit, and that we do get that. Not all of the districts get adequacy funding. So we're in an okay state. And one of the things that got brought up at that is a suggestion for recommending a resolution to support a statewide cyber charter tuition rate limit. Would you prefer that I discuss this now or when we get to it in the budget? Okay. So currently, every district pays a different amount for cyber charter school tuitions. Based on a rate that really comes from our budgets. So a child that goes to one district that goes to the same cyber charter school as a child that goes to a different district is going to pay different rates, even though they're getting the same education. And right now we pay a little over $15,000 for a regular education child and almost $32,000 for a special education child. But it can vary by more than $21,000 for regular education and $44,000 for special education, for no reason other than that's just how it is. And this is very hard on school budgets. And so the proposal is to come up with a rate that is fair to the cyber schools that will cover the cost to educate these children, but that doesn't pull so much money from the local districts. And so the amount originally that the governor had come up with was an $8,000 limit for regular education, but this proposal is actually a $10,000 limit for regular education, and then a tiered formula for special education. So this is on the budget today for us to review and vote on, and it is expected that if this were to be passed, it would save Wilson taxpayers several $100,000 in what we're currently paying. It is a significant budgetary savings. We don't really have any control over the amount of money the state gives us, but if they were to pass this, it would be a really significant savings. So I think this is something that we can do to encourage our legislatures to control the spending.
Thank you, Mrs. Denny. Any other additional board member reports? Okay. Mr. Ravitch, do you have any solicitor report? Okay, thank you. Moving on to treasurer's report. Mr. McCray, are you able to take the treasurer's report?
Yes, motion to approve the treasurer's report, investment report, general and capital funds, financial reports as presented.
Thank you. We have a motion for 4.1. Do we have a second? Mr. McCree, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Denny?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. McCray?
Yes.
Mr. McCree?
Yes.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
Payment of bills, Mr. McCray?
Motion to approve the payment of bills specifically from the general fund, $11,242,242.10. From the 2021C construction fund, $870,119.72. And from the 2024 construction fund, $377,806.70.
Thank you, Mr. McCray. We have a motion for 5.1. Do we have a second? Mr. McCree, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. McCray?
Yes.
Mr. McCree?
Yes.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mrs. Denny?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
And last one, Mr. McCray, financial reports.
Motion to approve the financial reports for the month of March 2025, specifically the cafeteria and childcare funds, along with the activity accounts at Southern Middle School, West Middle School, and the senior high as presented.
Thank you. We have a motion for 6.1. Do we have a second? Mr. McCree, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. McCray?
Yes.
Mr. McCree?
Yes.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mrs. Denny?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
Okay, under Human Resources, 8.1, request approval to renew the agreement with IU 13 for Act 168 compliance is attached. 8.2, request approval to renew the agreement with Vision Benefits of America as attached. And 8.3, request approval of the contract with Recruit Military as attached. Looking for a motion for Human Resources items 8.1 through 8.3.
Casper?
Mrs. Casper, thank you. Do we have a second? Dr. Kennedy, thank you. Any discussion?
Can we separate 8.2 out, please?
Sure. So looking for a motion to approve items 8.1 and 8.3.
Casper?
Mrs. Casper, thank you. And Dr. Kennedy, thank you. So any discussion? Okay, so we'll vote on just 8.1 and 8.3. Roll call, please.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mrs. Denny?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. McCray?
Yes.
Mr. McCree?
Yes.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
Looking for a motion for 8.2 as a standalone.
Casper?
Mrs. Casper, thank you. Dr. Kennedy is a second. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Schneider?
Abstain.
Mr. Case?
Abstain.
Mrs. Denny?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. McCray?
Yes.
Mr. McCree?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
7 yes, 2 abstain.
On to ratification approval of the following field trips. Request permission to approve the 8th grade field trip to Dorney Park for both West and Southern Middle Schools. Cost of students is $35, which includes admission to the park, catered lunch, and student government will cover the balance of the fees. Cost of the district is bus transportation. Looking for a motion to approve 9.1. Dr. Kennedy, thank you. Mr. McCree is second. Any discussion?
I just sent my money in for this, and my son is very excited.
It sounds a trip to Dorney or Hershey is always a good time. Any other discussion? Okay, this is a voice vote, so all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to consent items. Looking for a motion to accept with gratitude the following donations. Request to accept a donation from Bingham and Hess in the amount of $500. This donation is for the hands-on house field trip for the autistic support classrooms at Cornwall Terrace, as well as request to accept donations from WEF in the amount of $2,500 and Green Valley HSA in the amount of $647. The donations are for the purchase of discovery materials for Green Valley Elementary. Looking for a motion to approve 10.1.
Denny?
Mrs. Denny, thank you. Do we have a second?
Case?
Mr. Case, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, these are both voice vote, so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to student services. 11.1, request approval of a resolution approving and adopting a student discipline waiver and consent agreement dated March 3rd, 2025. 11.2, request approval of a student discipline waiver and consent agreement dated April 1st, 2025. 11.3, request permission to renew a contract with Hogan Learning Academy, LLC, for special education students for the 2025-26 school year. 11.4, request permission to renew a contract with John Paul II for 2 special education students for ESY 2025, pending solicitor review and approval. 11.5, request approval of a contract with Capstone Academy for 1 special education student for 2025 extended school year services, pending solicitor review and approval. 11.6, request permission to enter into an agreement with Kids Peace National Centers for provisions of their private academic program for the remainder of the 2024-25 school year. 11.7, request permission to renew an agreement with Billings Bilingual LLC to provide English-Spanish document translation services beginning July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026 as presented. 11.8, request approval of an MOU with Penn State College of Medicine, Penn State's PRO Wellness as presented. 11.9, request renewal of the Sweet Stevens, Katz & Williams Legal Service Consultation Agreement 2025-26 as presented. 11.10, request approval of a service agreement with the Lincoln Center for Family and Youth to operate 2 K-5 therapeutic elementary emotional support classrooms at Berkshire Heights Early Learning Center as presented, pending solicitor review and approval. And 11.11, request approval of a lease agreement with the Lincoln Center for Family and Youth for classroom space at Berkshire Heights Elementary Learning Center for the operation of a contracted K-5 therapeutic emotional support program as presented, pending solicitor review and approval. Looking for a motion to approve student service items 11.1 through 11.11 as presented.
Schneider, so moved.
Mr. Schneider, thank you. Do we have a second?
Casper.
Mrs. Casper, thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Denny?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. McCray?
Yes.
Mr. McCree?
Yes.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
Under Technology and Media, 12.1, request approval to purchase 2 planar video walls, including a 3-year enhanced service plan for the new high school auditorium from Visual Sound for a total cost of $195,158.45 using CoStars as attached. 12.2, request approval to purchase networking equipment for the high school performing arts project at a cost to the district of $5,123.22 as attached. 12.3, request approval to purchase 86 new line interactive displays to replace outdated projection equipment in the district using capital funds for a total of $189,464 per CoStars. 12.4, request approval to purchase 6 new line interactive displays and 5 new line smart TVs to replace outdated projection equipment in the district using capital funds for a total of $10,899.99 per CoStars. Per contract. 12.5, request approval to purchase over-the-board mounts for new line interactive displays using capital funds for a total cost of $11,310.12. Looking for a motion to approve technology items 12.1 through 12.5.
So moved. Case?
Mr. Case, thank you. Do we have a second? Mr. McCree, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. McCray?
Yes.
Mr. McCree?
Yes.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mrs. Denny?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
Under Operations, 13.1, request approval of corrected not to exceed amount of $371,033 to Crabtree, Rohrbach and Associates for the construction documentation phase of architectural services to design a new elementary school at Lincoln Park. This was previously approved, but the two numbers were flopped. 13.2, requested approval of the bleacher replacement project in the Upper House High School Gymnasium by R.J. McGarvel Associates for the 2025-26 fiscal year using the CoStar programs. 13.3, request approval of the change order number 21 by E.R. Stubner, Inc. for the high school auditorium additions and renovation project. 13.4, request approval of the change order number 22 for E.R. Stubner, Inc. for the high school auditorium additions and renovations project. 13.5, request approval of change order number 23 for E.R. Stubner, Inc. for the high school auditorium additions and renovation project. 13.6, request approval for change order number 24 by E.R. Stubner, Inc. for the high school auditorium additions and renovations project. 13.7, request approval of change order number 1 by JBM Mechanical, Inc. for the high school auditorium additions and renovations project. 13.8, request approval to provide final payment above the original contract amount and the contract closure with TerraWorks Consulting for the high school auditorium additions and renovations project. 13.9, request approval of the revised contract for testing services with QAA Plus for the high school auditorium additions and renovations project. 13.10, request approval for additional traffic engineering services from Boja Engineering, Inc. for the new Lincoln Park Elementary School construction project. 13.11, request approval of a proposal from Promax Fence Systems to extend safety fencing around the Spring Ridge Elementary Playground as presented. 13.12, request approval of a proposal from River Valley Landscapes for inclusive playground equipment at Whitfield Elementary School as presented. Looking for a motion to approve items 13.1 through 13.12 for operations.
So moved.
Mr. Case, thank you. Do we have a second?
Denny?
Mrs. Denny, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. McCree?
Yes.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mrs. Denny?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. McCray?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
And then 13.4 on our operations is standalone. Looking for a motion to approve resolution authorizing purchase of real estate in lieu of condemnation. This is for the Westview Drive property. Mr. McCree, thank you. Do we have a second?
Case?
Mr.
Second.
Case, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, yes, Dr. Trickett.
Thank you. Just a real quick moment here to reflect on where we've come from our last special board meeting, as Mr. Case mentioned earlier. We are proceeding with purchasing this property through traditional means at this point. As he mentioned, our closing is scheduled for this Friday, and we would not be here had it not been for Mr. Pinkasavage, who came to our meeting at our last special meeting we had, who is the business manager for the local IBW 743 electrical union. He came to the table, he expressed his needs, and was willing to sit down through 2 subsequent meetings after that to talk about the needs of the Wilson School District, and was willing to partner with us and to move forward through this means. So I just want to extend our thanks from the district, from the board, from myself to Mark, and for the entire IBW for allowing us to proceed in this manner as opposed to going through with the process that was authorized at our last meeting.
Agreed. Thank you, Dr. Trickett. It's always good to have a positive outcome and maintain our positive relationships with other organizations. Any other discussion from the board? Okay, hearing none, roll call on 13.14, please.
Mr. McCray?
Yes.
Mr. McCree?
Yes.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mrs. Denny?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
Under Finance, 14.1, request approval of the budget transfers dated March 2nd, 2025 through April 1st, 2025 as attached. Looking for a motion for 14.1. Mr. McCree, thank you. And second?
Denny?
Mrs. Denny, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Mr. Case,
Yes.
Mrs. Denny,
Yes.
Mr. Hart,
Yes.
Mrs. Casper,
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy,
Yes.
Mr. McCray,
Yes.
Mr. McCree,
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker.
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
Under Teaching and Learning, 15.1, request approval of a contract with Imagine Learning LLC to support 2025 summer school programs. 15.2, request permission to enter into an academic agreement with Westchester University 2025 through 2028 school years, pending solicitor review and approval. 15.3, request approval of the 2025-26 Alvernia University pre-college program agreement, pending solicitor review and approval. 15.4, request approval of a contract for Green Valley Elementary School with Bounce House Rentals for Lancaster LLC for the rental of inflatable attractions and generators at a cost of $1,172.84 paid by the Homeschool Association. 15.5, request approval of a contract for Cornwall Terrace Elementary School with Bounce House Rentals for the rental of inflatable attractions and generators at a cost of $1,660.02 paid from the school donations account. 15.6, request approval of a contract for Southern Middle School with the Bull Guys LLC for the rental of an inflatable mechanical bull at a cost of $950 paid for from the Student Activities Fund. 15.7, request approval of a contract with Phantom Entertainment Services to provide services for West Middle School's end-of-year celebration at a cost of $8,750 paid with funds from the fall fundraiser. 15.8, request approval of a contract with Over the Moon Events Rentals to provide services for the West Middle School's end-of-year celebration at a cost of $341, paid for with funds from the fall fundraiser. 15.9, request approval of a contract for Green Valley Elementary School with Elmwood Park Zoo to provide 2 50-minute Zoo on Wheels programs on Monday, May 5th, 2025 at a cost of $580, paid from a Wilson Education Foundation venture grant. And 15.10, request approval of the resolution in support of a statewide cyber charter tuition rate. Looking for a motion to approve teaching and learning items 15.1 through 15.10. Dr. Kennedy, thank you. Do we have a second?
Schneider.
Mr. Schneider, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Case,
Yes.
Mrs. Denny,
Yes.
Mr. Hart,
Yes.
Mrs. Casper,
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy,
Yes.
Mr. McCray,
Yes.
Mr. McCree,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker.
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
Under policies, we have a first reading of a policy, number 227, drugs and alcohol. We have a second reading of policy 622, capital assets. And this evening, we have a final reading and adoption of policy number 711, naming of school district facilities. So I'm looking only for a motion for, to approve or the final reading for policy 711, naming of school district facilities.
So moved.
Mr. Case, thank you. Do we have a second? Mr. McCree, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Hart,
Yes.
Mrs. Casper,
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy,
Yes.
Mr. McCray,
Yes.
Mr. McCree,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Mr. Case,
Yes.
Mrs. Denny,
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker.
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
Under miscellaneous reports, our enrollment report as of April 10th, 2025 is 6,479, which is a decrease of 1 from the previous report on March 13th, 2025. This evening, we have 1 public participation on a non-agenda item. Paula Shivers. I'm just happy to take a break from talking myself.
All right. I'm not a good public speaker. That's why I sent you guys a letter back in January about keeping our teachers safe. And I forgot my glasses, so I can't really read what I wrote. Oh, do you? So anyway, I wrote that letter back in January, and since then, there's been, our teachers are getting injured. I don't know if you realize how much and bad. My pictures are bad. I will send them to somebody if they want them. I printed them on my own computer, and so they didn't come out real well. But our teachers are getting injured by students. And I know that things are being done behind the scenes and changing, getting rid of children and whatever that came out wrong, but you know what I mean, all these bruises and things, injuries and that our teachers are suffering. But we need to protect our teachers now, whatever is going on behind the scenes and stuff, but our teachers are getting injured and we need to protect them now. And I have a grandchild in this school district, and I think if we can't protect our teachers, how are we protecting our children? So this is a problem. We need to take care of our teachers and our staff, and we need to protect them now. Now, we need to do something now to protect them from getting these injuries. And that's the only reason I'm here, and I'll give you your glasses back. I don't know what else to say. We got to protect our teachers from getting hurt from children. I work in all the schools, primarily and mostly in elementary schools in our district. And so we're seeing these injuries, all of them, in all the schools, from the elementary schools. Our teachers are getting hurt. We gotta help them. We gotta protect them. We gotta support them. We've got to not blame them for the injuries. We gotta find out what they need to keep them safe. It's a weird feeling when a elementary school child walks into your office and you get this little twinge of, is he gonna hurt me? A teacher shouldn't feel that. A nurse shouldn't feel that. We got to keep everybody safe, our teachers and staff safe, or we're going to lose them. I'm glad I spoke after all the new hires, because I don't want to scare anybody from coming in being a teacher here. But our staff is getting hurt. We need to protect them. We need to help them now. It's like this child is drowning, and we're over here going, well, we should build a fence around a pool and teach them how to swim and get their parents to watch them more. But nobody's jumping in to save the child. Our teachers of those children, that child drowning in the abuse and violence that is being perpetrated against them. We need to do something now. I don't know what. Maybe we could ask them, what do they need to do their jobs safely and feel safe at work? We need to keep them safe. Okay, that's it.
Thank you for your comments. Looking for any other business from the board? Okay, yes, Mr. McCree.
One brief thing. I contacted Dr. Trickett earlier last week. Please keep a family in our district in your prayers and thoughts. They lost their son on our campus on last week. It was a very trying, emotional situation. And his brother there, Wilson graduates, his brother and I'm not sure if there were other siblings in the district, but we're still trying to find answers to what happened. Nothing has been released yet, but their family that's really, really in need. Very close-knit family from what I've been able to find out, and a lot of that comes through my office, as in the Dean of Students office, so it's been a very emotional week for our students and faculty who taught that young man.
Thank you, Mr. McCree.
Just to clarify for the board and the community, when Mr. McCree said our campus, he's referring to Kutztown University campus, not the Wilson School District campus. And our team of social workers and principals are aware and trying to support the family and the child's sibling to their fullest ability. But thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCree. Any other business from the board?
I just want to thank you for coming up to the podium. That's not easy to do in front of your employer. And we appreciate that. I know that I personally have had some conversations with Dr. Trickett and others with regard, I think it's worthy of maybe just a quick response back on kind of our current state and what we're looking at. But I know that we do have a problem at the legal level, just, maybe at, at the state with regard to student rights. And we really do need to advocate more for teacher rights as well. Everyone needs to feel safe, not just students, but our employees as well. So I know Dr. Trickett is very invested in this. I'll let you speak, but it's a good opportunity to share as well.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Case and Ms. Shivers. We did have a chance to talk. I think it was towards the end of January, beginning of February, where she shared with us some of the concerns that she brought forward, as well as some of the concerns that were raised in the email. At that meeting, we talked about, some of the pieces that the laws to protect students, to protect families, and, it's other than, instead of going into the full depths of what we're able to do and unable to do, I think it's important to remember that we're responsible for educating all children. All children that live within the Wilson School District, regardless of their abilities, their gifts, their disabilities, their challenges. It is our legal and moral responsibility to educate them. And sometimes that requires additional love and care and support, additional challenges that we have to put forward for them. But at the end of the day, that's our charge. We don't have the option to select the people that we care for. So it's not easy. It's nuanced. There's legal, there's moral, there's ethical dilemmas and challenges and systems of supports that we put in place and sometimes remove, all while trying to figure out what works. And oftentimes, in some of the situations that gets to the board level, we're talking about students with disabilities and students who have additional needs that we're trying to figure out and trying to meet. It doesn't mean we don't care for our staff. It doesn't mean we don't want our staff to be safe and healthy and happy. But it does present some additional pieces that we have to work through. So I would just again encourage our teammates here, our teachers, and I use the word teammates intentionally, to continue to work with the people that care for them, their principals, their supervisors. Make sure that those things are being shared, make sure that we're having the conversations so that we can try to implement changes into those processes to ensure everyone is safe. I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you, Dr. Strickett. Any other business from the board? Okay, then I am looking for a motion to adjourn.
Schneider, so moved.
Meeting adjourned.